I'm Justin Myers. So I started in real estate as a mortgage broker back in 2005, just in time to have a front seat to the crash, right? And to watch the whole market blow up in 07 right there in Tampa. It was ground zero, third hardest hit market in the country. So I've got to do a little bit of everything in real estate. And right now, I'm really passionate about. If you're curious about getting into real estate, love to educate you on that. If you're looking to do some things, I've got a great national network of investors, teachers, real estate coaches. If there's something you're looking to do, I probably know someone that's doing it at this point. I've gotten to travel a bunch this year. It's really cool. I am looking for a quadplex. I'm looking for a quadplex. I am open on price. I'm flexible on that. Somewhere preferably within 40 minutes of here is what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm looking for. What I hope to get out of here is I hope to build some connections. I want to hear some stories at the end of this year where someone says, hey, you gave me this idea and we went and took it and now we're investing, or we got our first property, right? Or we did our first wholesale deal, or we did another thing, we expanded. So that's what I'm looking to get out of this year. Awesome. Thanks.
Yes, for sure. Kind of go around the room.
And how can you connect with us?
Best way to connect with us actually is going to be
Two ways.
Two ways now. So we heard the asks, and so actually today I put out a Grid Knoxville Facebook group. So I've got a link to that here towards the end. We're gonna make sure to invite everybody, start kind of plugging into there. So that'll be a great place to connect with us, as well as through like the meetup.com platform that everybody kind of like registers through. And then certainly all of our direct socials.
So gridknoxville.com if you want the information, to get on the list, to be on the mailing list. And then we have a Facebook group. It's Grid Knoxville. You can search it. We'll be sending out invites to everyone as well. If you're looking for something that's a little more active where, hey, I can go post, looking for something, network, collaborate, share deals.
Yeah, that's a big move. Okay, we'll take a minute and kind of go around the room, yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody out. I want to know a little bit more about what you're, who you are.
Sweet. So this is an elevator pitch, right? Just, hey, I'm Justin. I'm a real estate agent and investor. I'm looking for a multifamily property, right? And I hope to meet some contractors, right? Because today's how to build your dream team. That's what it looks like. Start with you. Let's go.
Yeah. I know Sarah here, we work together. I'm contractor, but I have some idea in future do some investment. I'm here to learn more.
What's your name, friend?
Samani.
Samani, yes. I've used Samani on deals before. Fantastic. Glad you're here, Samani.
Thank you.
Noah.
My name is Noah Jube. I'm a contractor who specializes in screens. So that's windows, screens, screen doors, and screening porches. I'd love to connect with people in real estate who have screening porches that need repair, or want a new screening porch, or windows that need screen repair, all that fun stuff. But I'm also looking to rent a house in April of this year. My lease is up and I don't want to rent with the same people again. So looking for a place. I've got about to have a third kid, and my wife and I. So it's a family of 5. So definitely a 3-bedroom or something like that. Looking for in April area. I'm in Alcoa now. I like Alcoa a lot. I like how I can get to all my clients really quickly. But I'm open to, throw it at me, see what you got. Because I'd love to find a place that find somewhere for like a year or so to stay in.
Right.
Like a 1 year.
1 year is what we're looking at, yeah. Because I want to buy a house.
Rodney pre-called after the meeting. I love you. Rodney, introduce yourself. We'll keep us on schedule. We'll be strict on this.
Rodney Johnson, KW agent, been with these guys about 8 months now. Investor looking for a property of about 1,000 square feet, kind of a smaller home. If it's a gut and go, that's cool. But that would be my first property, so maybe something smaller, a little more basic. But I'm definitely open to hearing what anybody has to say.
All right. Appreciate you. Welcome.
Hey, thanks. I'm here at Freshwater. I know Corin. Invited my wife and I. I'm here to learn more than anything, but she can answer that.
I'm Mary Alice. We have a historic home that we inherited in Spearville, so we need to do a full remodel on that. And we've got some properties we're looking to sell. That's mainly agriculture. But we're very green, excited to be in real estate in general. So just excited to network.
Great, fantastic. Tyler?
Travis Dupre.
My bad, I'm sorry, Travis.
Yeah, no problem. Travis Dupre, just relocated to Knoxville, since October, end of October. I left my career of 8 years of doing oil field sales in Louisiana and to follow my wife's dream, of moving away. I've been having my real estate license with Keller Williams since 2014. I've flipped 2 houses back in Louisiana several years back before the wife started school. And we are empty nesters, and so we decided to get the hell out. And I'm here to learn, definitely network, because I don't know a soul in this town. We've never been here, so found a job, and let's go. Good for you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. My name is Duke Morton. I've lived in Knoxville, owned the first house here, 123174. And I'm looking for, well, want to be exact, looking for people who want to auction especially. Bigger the properties doesn't matter. I don't care how many 1,000 acres it is or hundreds of acres it is or anything. I don't care what it is, whether it's houses, whether it's offices, businesses, whatever might be the case. But I know plenty of people with plenty of cash too. So you can help me out, I can help you out. Thank you.
Glad you're here, dude.
My name is Tim. We both about internet. We have 2 different things. One's networking. My wife, we are looking for a property that we can go and fix up and rent out to have our first rental property. We're not extremely particular in the area, mainly just Knoxville, Rockford, Maryville, Coa area. Nothing too extensive because this is our first property. She's extremely nervous about the whole process because I'm the one heading it. It's kind of more of my dream than hers. And the other thing is that on my personal business side, I'm looking for apartment complexes, like little, even like single dwelling units that I can go and help hook up with the internet, especially low income families that have kids that need internet so they can do schooling. Right now, I'm working on an adult living project to go get their whole facility hooked up because all of the other providers for internet were being butt heads with what they wanted to go and do with management. And I was able to go and work something out with them, something to provide them with internet, so all that didn't happen. So that's what I got.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jessica Vine. I wholesale list houses, 3 so far. We just got started in June, so I'm pretty new, but jumping in. So looking to meet people that want to buy deals, people that want to buy my 3 houses that are going to go on the market soon. Just looking at network with everybody.
Awesome.
Come on, don't be shy.
Hey, welcome. You got plenty of seats. You got some, one over there, one up front.
I guess my name is Jeremiah Holmes.
Jeremiah.
I got out of the military about a year ago, decided that I did not want to work for anybody ever again in my entire life. So I chose real estate investing and I started out wholesaling. I had absolutely no money. And I wholesaled my first property that I got off of Craigslist and I made $5,000 after waiting 3 months because I had to get surveyed. After that, I kept wholesaling. I wholesaled probably about 7 houses and I got really good at marketing. If you guys are looking for deals, you should probably get really, really good at your own marketing if you don't want to pay wholesale assignment fees because people are going to charge you like 10 grand. So to beat all that, I developed a business partnership with a realtor and a contractor so that I could market to find properties and my numbers would be on point every single time. And then we bought 1 flip in Oak Ridge. And now I'm being bought out of that business partnership and I'm going out on my own and I'm looking for seller finance deals. I'm not trying to wholesale anything. I'm
on trying to keep everything. Whether that be partnerships with people that have down payment money and closing costs or something so that I don't have to give them up. So my goal for this year is not to wholesale, to keep everything. And that's about it.
My name is Cesar. I'm coming here to network with people and I'm looking for fourplex or triplex or duplex.
Thanks, thank you.
My name is Erin Dahl, and I own Dollhouse Staging, and it's doll, like a Barbie doll deal. And this is the first time I've come. I work with Corey and Justin. They have been great partners for me. And I haven't done a ton of marketing, and so I'm just kind of getting out and talking with people. I've done staging for quite a while, but I just haven't put my name out there a whole lot. So just doing some networking.
Great, glad to have you here, Erin.
Thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm Christine. We have one rental homes, I guess that's niche. We're looking always for contractors. We've had some bad experiences in the past, so hoping to have some good experiences in the future. And then we are currently looking for a 3-2, so we can rent our current home and then move into something ourselves. Flexible with the area, but either somewhere with a good school district or somewhere in a historic part of town.
Hello, my name is Daniel. Christine, yeah, we're just looking for a bigger home. We enjoy the home we live in, but it's a 2-1, about 1,200 square feet. We're looking for something bigger.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm Brad. This is my wife Lindsay. I'll just introduce her real quick. We own Everest Air Heating and Cooling in Maryville. We service within about 40 minutes of Alcoa. So we can help with the heating air side. Also, we just got done renovating our first house and we're going to be putting it up for rent hopefully within a couple of months, and then about a couple weeks maybe. And then we're going to be closing on our another property. It's 5 acres. We're moving into the house, but it's got 4 lots on the back. We have to check, like, we just need some help with trying to figure out how to make the most profitable. We're looking at maybe tiny homes, maybe trailers. There's already 3 trailers there, but they might just need to go. So looking to network with people that either know about renovating that kind of stuff or how to make that the most profitable. Probably not going to be looking to acquire another property for a few months anyways, but when we do, if anybody has a deal in the Blount County area, we'll probably stay like in Blount County, and it'll probably be like 2 2s, 3 2s in the Blount County area. So.
Caleb.
Hi, I'm Caleb Gallardo, and I'm non-real estate. I'm in sales, so I have equipment, but I would love to get in real estate. I want to buy my first property this year. That's my goal. I want to get a property in the Knoxville area, or the eastern part, like Spearville, or even Alcoa. And I want to buy a duplex or acre of land and put some on there.
Awesome. Glad to have you here, man.
Hi, I'm Dandy. I am no real estate agent. I'm completely new to this, but I love learning and networking with people. And Caleb brought me here today. This so far is great. And I'm looking for eventually to get some land and also some duplexes as well and start from there.
Glad you're here, Danny. I saw 2 people walk in. You want to introduce yourself? Just tell us. I know who you are and what you're looking for today.
Okay, my name is Vinchelle Martin. I'm a new homeowner. I know Corey.
Yep.
And I'm just here trying to invest what I do have. So
yeah,
what I would say though so far.
You're in the right place. Glad to have you.
I'm Jesse Allerton. I do real estate acquisitions. So I do some wholesaling, looking at buyers for stuff for myself, and looking to see who knows about building. I'm interested in building, so if you know about building, I want to talk to you.
Excellent. Good. I love great commercial. International. All right.
Couple of legalese.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the important stuff. So the state of Tennessee wants you to know that Corey and I are real estate agents. They also want you to know that we don't represent you, right? So We're not acting as fiduciaries here. And we are not real estate attorneys, home inspectors, tax professionals, lawyers, accountants, right? Anything that you see here, any information that you hear, use it at your own risk, right? Your investing always has the possibility of loss. So run this by other people. Now, the good news is you're in a room full of people that I think are fantastic. There's great resources here, right? But anything you're doing, like, don't invest money that you don't have the capacity to lose. I think is the big takeaway from this discussion, right, Corey?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, like when you walk in the casino, that better be money you're willing to burn.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So,
What's the dream team, Corey?
Yeah, man, so we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about our dream team. In this, really come from this and believing that no one succeeds alone. And so knowing that when you're jumping in both feet, as Jessica's well put it, you're gonna need partners, service providers, contractors, like you name it, just to help with some of those basic tasks that that are involved when it comes to renovating properties and just buying real estate in general. So,
Anybody, show of hands, anybody had an issue with the contracting last year? Yeah, awesome. Everyone else been on the sidelines?
right. So some of these people are really going to become what I consider almost like superstars in your world, right? That are more than just on like a one-to-one, say, like contract basis. These are people that you form solid long-term relationship with that will ultimately take you places that money can't, right? Big believer in that, of just the power of relationships, nurturing those and just helping each other out along the way.
I'd say we're both, we do this together for a reason, right? We're both big believers, right? The sum is greater than the whole.
Yeah.
You know, the collective, us sitting in this room is a much more powerful, right, than us just, hey, here's the slide deck, here's the recording, you know what I mean? Learn on your own. Like there's something magical that happens when you're like, oh, okay, add a little Jeremiah, right? Add a little Noah, you know, throw in some Duke, and you can have some synergy there. So yeah, I've seen some really great partnerships. Aaron is a partner of ours and adds value in a lot of different ways, right? To work with someone that's a friend that I think highly of, right? And you start bleeding this thing over. He's Brad before, he's people in this room before. Yeah. How do you identify a superstar, Corey?
Big ones, really.
And that's someone's not transactional. It's someone that's going to be like a recurring feature in your life. It's going to add a lot of value. So how do you identify that?
Being one, I guess, right? Like just being one, going every way, like just giving to other people.
Yeah.
Just because in that, like that was like Giver's Game. Right?
Anybody read The Go Giver? It's on my list. I haven't read it. Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Great
know,
story.
I mean, I know for me, right, that certainly that I have gotten back by simply giving. You know, relationships will take you places that money will never take you, right? By just simply showing up from contribution, people come back to you with opportunity.
Yeah.
We just did a deal. Actually, I was thinking about this. I got a message, I got a great voicemail from someone that I bought a house from. We bought the house for $92,000. We put like 50 in it. We made 30K this year on it. And she said, hey, I just want to thank you. I'm at the beach. It never would have happened if you hadn't bought this house. I appreciate you so much. I'm never going to forget this. Thank you. Like that's, you know.
That's a powerful story.
Yeah. Like someone's like, please, will you come make $30,000 and help? No, but, and then like is calling me up to say thank you because, right, she just wanted someone to come do this.
Yeah.
She said, will someone please get me out of this house? I need help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just being able to like, I think it was ultimately just being that connector.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's something that I think we both really try to look to do is just go be, oh, you need this, right? Okay, we need screens, or we'll talk to Noah. You two need to meet. Like just playing that role will inevitably.
Anybody ever have trouble networking? Not sure how to network? No, everyone's totally natural. It's not weird talking to strangers. Yeah. Right. Okay, I think no. I mean, so sometimes it's easy if you're in a group where you already know some people here, right? We all kind of, most of us know someone. You guys at least know Corey, right? But when we don't, I think here's a hack that I've seen is ask them how you can help them. That is a question you can ask anybody in the world. I've tried it all over the country here with the top agents in the country. I'm talking top 10 agents, right? And it opens all of these doors. Hey, how can I help you? What's going on in your business? What's the challenge I can help you? And often it's not that I know anything. It's like, oh, Brad, you said you're like, cool. I can connect you with this person who's an expert. I can just, so I call it fiduciary friendship. It's just like, asking people, finding out what is important to them, right? And then having your radar up when you're out there, just thinking like in the back of my head, like, okay, so I need to be looking for like an accountant or a screen guy or whatever, right? If you gotta write it down, write it down. I think that's a huge, huge piece that's growing my business. And it wasn't intentional, it's just, I don't know, it's what I find interesting.
It's being cool.
Justin,
Yes, sir.
you took the words right out of my mouth, but I mean, only speak to people in questions, not in statements. They don't want to know how much you know anyway. In order for them to be in the conversation anyhow, they've got to answer the question in order to be in the conversation. So you're right, just ask, and just absolutely to infinity.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a really interesting one of just, how can I help you, right? And if when you do that, you start, it gets really interesting.
I like that term you just used, like the fiduciary friendship, right? Just like actually like looking out for someone's like best interest, like all the time, and in doing so, like the universe provides.
Dude, what would the world look like if everyone acted that way?
Right, yeah.
There's some
Solve
very
all problems.
famous books and some prophets that talked about that. If you just treat everybody the way you want to be treated. I want to be treated very, very well. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
Like I want to be spoiled. So I got to go out there and put it out in the world. So who should be looking for my dream team, Corey?
Gosh, well, certainly.
The left one's the right one.
Perfect, that'll work. So your settlement agents,
What's a settlement agent?
that's gonna be, those are people that are gonna be there at your title company or like through your lenders as well. They're gonna be there just actually transacting, closing that deal out for you.
Yeah, so they close that deal out, right? And so that's separate from the title company, right? Each title company has separate settlement agents that are responsible for sourcing business, usually paid on some sort of incentive, right? So you want to get into relation with them and, hey, I want to send my business to Jennifer, I'm going to send my business to Bill, and build a relationship with them, right? Yeah, I love that. Title company, what do title companies do, Corey?
Title companies are there just to make sure that when you're transferring ownership from one party to another, that there's no, liens, judgments, we call kind of clouds on title. Somebody's comes out from the woodwork. We live in rural Appalachia, and it's very easy for somebody to come out and be like, that's my pappy's land from eons ago, and I'm entitled to that. And so it's their job to make sure that properties are being like transferred without any other person being able to jump in the
Or
middle.
that you're buying a property from someone that actually has the right to
Actually
sell
has
it.
the right to sell it. Yeah, sure.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens at closing. People think it's real spicy. Okay,
It
awesome.
definitely does. Your hard money lenders, those are also sometimes called private money lenders. There's somewhat of a difference there in that respect, because like your private lending, like say, are going to be just individuals who are privately say, lending out their own cash when it comes to, I guess, purchasing homes, refinancing, fixing them up. Hard money is still like an old banker's term because you're leveraged against like hard assets. I think the difference is they have the option, they're brokering this out. There's larger funds out there that you might, just because you're say going to a quote unquote like hard money lender that might be like local, you're going to end up paying a different entity from that loan. Those are in there. Your contractors are huge in this one, right? I think that's a key, that's like a linchpin in your dream team. There is actually having a solid group of contractors that you can call and can turn an estimate pretty quickly. At least in that, right? I think we're all pretty flexible on like our timelines. We understand it's busy, but being able to just say, hey, it's going to cost you X, and I can get started in 3 weeks, even if it's a month, something like that. Just having at least some understanding, clarity on there is powerful. Yeah, for sure, right? Suppliers or building suppliers, just where those materials are coming from, having good relationship with them, because at times you end up with some good deals.
Yeah, that person at the pro desk, right? They love Starbucks, or like that person at 84 Lumber, like your sales rep. Like those are all great relationships that you can build, and they pass out business. I've been on the roofing side. Having a good relationship with leads to lots of income. If you manage to pull that off.
Absolutely. Awesome. My favorite one is just like staging companies. I mean, we have our stager here in the room.
What's the importance of staging, Corey?
They just make your properties look amazing. There's no way to it. They just bring some warmth. Let's say that bring some warmth.
Do that, right? We're investors. We don't need stagers.
No, it makes a difference. Every time I use both, I've done this both on the investing side and then also when I'm even on the listing side. Like I work to not have a home that's vacant go to market without some type of, I call call like warmth to the home, right? When you walk into something and there's no space, it is very cold feeling, no matter how nice you've done. It certainly makes a difference. And the statistic like escapes me off the top of my head in terms of the actual sales price
the
difference you can
delta?
actually like
I think
benefit
it's
from.
at least 8%.
It's gotta be, and it's well worth the investment into making your properties look good.
We've set multiple square footage records using stage properties. We sold one in East Knoxville, like a block from Five Heritage for 240 square foot, new home. That was in January of last year. It was staged. By staging that and using professional videography, got a portfolio of 7 units. Someone said, hey, you're the only person that's marketing anything like this in East Knoxville. Will you help me take these over and flip them and sell them? So now I'm a big believer in staging. It's a big way to delineate yourself. It's even if you do it yourself, guys, right, on your investments or your rentals, like you'll get a different type of renter if you take the time to stage.
But your stager will also consult. If
Yes.
you want to do it yourself.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Or a good stager will also.
Yeah, it's a great resource. So, okay. Real estate agents, realtors are great dream team members, right? I network a ton of realtors. Here's the crazy thing about real estate. If you're incredibly successful, 80% of the time, you're going to be working with another agent. Like that's the best numbers I've seen is someone that's sourcing 20% of their own deals and closing and double siding, right? So it's an industry, it's totally contingent upon my cooperation with other agents. They've got deal flow, they've got access, they've got resources. That's a great hack to get resources, right? If you get a realtor that's been in business 20 years, they probably know a lot of people. They probably can pass on some extra vendors to you, some dream team members.
Sure. Or to bring in new properties necessarily that might not
Yep.
work, or hey, I'm having a hard time selling X. Can you take a look at it and your thoughts? Maybe you even know somebody like a cash buyer will come in and do it. We just did a deal this past week for significantly under ask with that.
Oh, I just had a question back on the
Yeah.
staging, actually.
Yeah.
Sure.
Who would be the right person to consult if you're wanting help with like paint colors or kind of before you do a renovation? Is that
Sitting
also
right
staging?
behind you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that, interior designers are another resource depending on like how involved this renovation is. Because what, they may think the next step besides like, I think Aaron's got incredible taste. An interior designer, if you go to the right one, is gonna have discounts. They're gonna have,
That's
yeah,
very true.
and they're gonna be able to take you to the next step there. But in terms of getting advice, that's where I would go, right, in both those aspects.
If I could just touch on that, it depends on how much you want to be involved. An
Yes.
interior designer can somewhat take over
Mm-hmm,
and is a little bit more project oriented and wants, where if you work with a stager that's more independent, they would probably be more likely to be a partner to you, if that makes sense. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're kind of like, I don't want to do anything, I would go with an interior designer because they're gonna just get in there and do it for you.
Aaron's a good resource. It also depends, like, right, are you doing this for your case, or are you doing it, like, the reason I work with Aaron is like, she's consistently working with, like, what's capturing buyers. It's a different mindset versus like, oh my God, I got my dream kitchen and I want to do, right? It's a very different thing.
Yeah.
These next three all work in conjunction with each other. This is a way to play the game at a really high level if you want to be a go-giver and be a connector, right? So if you're a real estate attorney, or you're a divorce attorney, or you're an estate agent, right? You have to lead generate. You have to come up with deal flow. You've got to come up with more wills to probate, right? You've got to come more clients to represent. They are looking to actively network with each other. So if you can get one, you can get the rest, or you can make those introductions on behalf of each other, right? So financial planners aren't on here. That's another one. So an estate attorney, right? They actively need to liquidate deals. That's a great resource if you can need them, right? To have in your wheelhouse. Regular attorneys as well are sometimes going to have dispositions of properties, businesses, things they're going to need to pass on, right? Tax professionals do the same thing. Yes, and then wholesalers are a great resource, right? What are they doing professionally? All they're doing is hunting for deals. So unless you want to invest that, there's a significant amount there. If you need deal flow, wholesalers can be some of the best partners You can make fantastic money if you're working with a really good wholesaler and they're good at their job.
Yeah, there's money in it for everybody at the end of the day, especially in those relationships. Wholesalers are still finding good deals.
So here's my question. I'm gonna ask this for everyone in the room, for you, Corey. Who else do you work with or send business to as an investor? Who else are you writing checks to that we haven't mentioned so far?
Surveyors.
Yeah.
Inspectors,
Yeah.
appraisers.
So surveyors, inspectors, home appraisers. Home appraisers is a great resource. I got an appraiser I've used to measure all my properties for years. He is a great, Anthony Milstead, Anthony Miller with Milstead Appraisals. Like Tony is a good guy to have if I don't understand something, just be able to call him, he'll answer those questions. He built a relationship. Yeah, I love that.
Other people that kind of affect me are your cleaners.
Yes.
And your landscapers.
Mhm. Yeah. Those are two excellent ones. Corey, what do you?
I was gonna say, those are really good ones. I mean, I've even had, I'll try to take this message to like anyone that you're even consistently like interacting with, or your mailman, crying out loud, is a solid resource. Just somebody who drives by homes every day and all of a sudden like, hey man, the weed, grass on this one's gotten pretty high, right? Hell, your Uber drivers, like just even at that level, you can create honestly a pretty solid little network of like bird dogs out there for you just by like finding and playing that connector role as best you can. But really, I guess anywhere, anyone that you're sending like business, you should also know that here's what I'm looking for, and I guess there's a give and take there. Like,
A reciprocity.
Yeah.
So, closed mouths don't get fed.
Mhm.
Are there amazing contractors that'll do a good job for you, never gonna send you deals? Yeah, fantastic. You may want to use them on some. But are there contractors that are like naturally garrulous and chatty and they're out there, like they're the mayor of the town? You want to work with that person. You want to work with, okay, great. Like I sent Noah some screen business and then Noah was like, hey man, I was driving, I saw this awful house. It's over on 123 Main Street. Simple stuff. It doesn't have to be that they're, anybody could do that. Anybody could say, hey, my cousin is moving, right? It should just be an expectation of just like, hey, as the investor, you're an engine of economic creation. We know that, right? Like even on the real estate side, our transactions generate like 2 times the commission. It generates like, $20,000 in revenue for all these different ventures. So like you got to be working with people who are, hey, are they sending this back because this feeds the whole thing? You're coming in, you are adding property value, you're employing all these other people, right? You're allowing more productive, generally, right? If rent goes up, it's going to be someone's got more productive line of work to come in there. So are you asking for that from people that you're just expecting like, hey, I like to work with people, I want to continue doing this. If I send you deals, can we just maybe send someone back if you see something? Just think of me, appreciate it, right?
Yeah, the more you just put out there.
Where do you
more
find
get
people,
back.
Corey?
You can definitely find them here in these kind of events, right? Like I say here, checking out like both our grid Facebook group, but then also just going to other meetups, other masterminds that are around there. There's a number of them around. You can go to virtually and in person, but we really try to put these things together to be able to expand everybody's networks.
Corey, can we set up a help wanted post tomorrow in the Facebook group?
Yes.
So we're gonna set one help wanted post and just go in there and put what your needs are. And we can fill those, because some of the stuff I even heard today, they're not in the room, and we definitely have those resources,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed. Agreed. Let's definitely do it. We talk about staying in touch.
There's one thing back there. Did I miss anything there? Yeah, okay, so no, this is, I think, important, not as much for us, but from talking to we talked to Rob that founded Grid pretty regularly, right? And just through Grid, like Rob has been able to build out businesses, partnerships, all through those relationships. And I think based off of the December meetup, that there's a ton of people that aren't here today that are great resources that also can share some things. So how do you, let's say you built this team, Corey, like how do you actually stay in touch? Like what does that look like?
calling people is gonna be the first and best way, right?
Oh, man, really? I gotta call people?
It's still the most like tried and true way of communication, of actually having a voice to voice conversation. You know, in person is always best. But certainly just being able to pick up the phone, it's the fastest way to talk to anybody on the planet, right?
It's a much faster way to build rapport.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, text doesn't create, tonality doesn't usually translate very well via text.
Yeah, so what we say is, what's the percentage of communication that's nonverbal? It's like
high,
it's
super high.
very high. I think it's 80% of
Somewhere around there,
communication is
yeah.
nonverbal. If you're relying on just text messages, there's a lot of, anybody know people that read text messages in some wild ass tones, depending on whether they lunch or not, right? Yeah.
Did it come through in all caps? And maybe that's just how they put it off, or they themselves have a hard time seeing the screens, they write in all caps, it comes off. You're shouting at me like all the time, right?
What's the second step? What can I do besides calling people?
From there, I think it's just a matter of like, you make the phone call to set up the meeting, the coffee, the lunch, the dinner, the network, just begin to be face to face, both with like people you know and are building relationships with, and also having those meetups with people that you just met for the first time, and you want to be able to connect and learn more.
Can we go back to the phone forks? I thought about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to calls, anybody has struggled with calls, don't know what to say, frustrated, find it stressful?
I'm not a call.
Started that way.
Not a call
Absolutely.
person, great. You know, I got something you can do, voice message.
Yeah,
That's a great one, right? Of just a
like,
hey.
I don't even know if I have my voicemail set up, like, I'm just.
Well, I
know,
mean,
I'm
just like a voice
12-year-old.
text.
I text.
So you can send a voice text.
I think when you have kids that text, your kids are little, and your daughter's older though, so. But like, I get so like, my kids won't respond unless I text, so I think I've just gotten so used to texting, but I'll admit it, I'm like, oh my God, why are you calling me? I'm bad, I'm really
Sure.
bad. And so I've gotten to really rely on text, but I know that, I'm of the older of this room, and so you think that I would be better about calls, but I'm not.
No.
On the other side of that, I am not young, the youngest probably in this room, but I prefer phone calls over text.
Likewise.
Text
Yeah, I'm a
messages
big
is
phone
more-
person.
So I make phone calls daily. So one of the things that actually helps me out is I would write out like just a basic template of what I would say based on what I'd be calling my customers for.
Yeah.
And I would go off of that. One thing I would always also do is make sure if I have that customer's name, I would say the customer's name part of it, like hello. I would always introduce myself and what I work for first, because one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody calls me to business, they only introduce themselves, they don't say who they work for. So when I hear that, in my head, in today's world, I think scam them. Introduce yourself, who you work for, and then if you have the capability of texting them, text them some type of information about your business cards, flyers, promotional stuff like that. Build that template. That will definitely help.
So here's a framework you can use that's kind of foolproof, right? It's called FORD. So you open every call, you're gonna talk about one of these 4 things: family, occupation, recreation, dreams, right? Hey, how's work? How are the kids? Hey man, are you still getting out there on the boat, right? Hey, it's January. What are your goals? What are you looking to do? And what are you looking forward to this year? That's simple. You engage, and I have a boss, he does it every time, and it works fine, right? We would talk about something real. He pivots to, hey, the reason why, give a second to talk. I'd say yes, I'm obligated. The reason why I'm calling, I just want to see if you're able to come out, Wednesday we're doing this thing, or can you help me with whatever, right? Express gratitude. Done. Simple framework to build rapport, works like magic. Because you're gonna need that if you're gonna get to the second part of like how to get smashed.
Yeah, and you're actually just going out to meet for lunch, coffee, dinners, breakfast, et cetera. Just a way to actually get physically like together. I think that's really where I think things just change, like relationships even at that point.
Yeah, there's no substitute for in-person interaction, sharing space.
No, and step 3 is probably just gonna be email, right? That's probably another like phone call. It's at least like direct. It's something that's like duplicatable. You can consistently put out there. Putting together like a newsletter forwarding or, collecting and forwarding articles, looking at just ways with that mindset of just how can I give, what can I share, is going to be the other.
Does this match what you had to do, Jeremiah, to build a network? Does this track with what you had to do to build a network from scratch?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, basically, to get money, I had to figure out what people wanted. What do you want? I want a property. That's cool. I'll go get it.
Yeah.
I got it. And then I also.
Yeah, but also that person, right? If you wanted to go back and mine that list and work that list, what else are they probably interested in? And it's as simple often as asking people. Hey guys, I meet people all the time. I'm in these really cool things. Like, what's something you want to know more about this year? It's the same thing, right? Because when you met them, you asked what's really important to them, and then you wrote that down. It's now I've got it. Hey, I was just thinking of you. I saw this article, right? I want to pass that along. I got 2 great articles about the rental market, right? That are actually sitting on my laptop right now. That probably all to everyone in this room. So, Corey, how do you actually manage? I've never had a database. Like, how do I manage it? I've got like
All your contacts exist in your phone.
no, I've got like 40 to 50 business cards sitting on my dresser that one day I'm going to do something with.
Sure. Going and investing, kind of spending the time getting into the CRM being like a client relation manager, customer relation management system.
What does that mean in like plain
English?
What's a contact relation?
It's a centralized database at the end of it where you're keeping all of your people, who they are, their contact info,
right?
how I know this person, something that you can go back to and reference, and then also update as new things happen. People have a baby, people move, ways you can go back and plug into it.
Yeah, a lot of times with the CRM, you can set up reminders.
Sure.
For birthdays, or if you're trying to touch people a certain amount throughout the
Yep.
year, you can have it where it automatically applies that, and even automatically sends out emails at certain times of the year and stuff.
Yeah.
There are some free, like really solid Google plugins that we've been able to find, like Pipedrive is great. Streak CRM is another one as well. You could start to pay for them a little bit. Like I use Constant Contact is one of my main ones I use to send out my newsletter each month. But then you put me on to Folio, which is a little bit more like a transaction.
Yeah, so let's walk through them kind of on the basic level, right? All I want to have is I got a place where like I've got Jeremiah's information. I've got information when I contact him. When I talk to him again, he asks for something. I write it down because it's too much to remember, right? And I promise no one's going to be offended if you jot down in your phone notes, like, oh, Jessica's dog's name is Scooter. What's your dog's name? Patton. Write that down, right? It'll know people. My grandma had a system for this stuff. She had like a recipe box, and I was never like, where she'd send everyone's cards out at the beginning of the month because she had 150 people or something. She was the matriarch, right? Like it worked. She had a system to do this stuff. That's the basic. That can live in your Gmail account. So Pipedrive, for example, like lives in your Gmail like as an add-on. It sits right there and it kind of pops in, so you can just put notes on it when you're talking to them. That's an easy way to track, especially in business transactions. That's like a basics. Moving up, so what's Constant Contact? That's almost like an email newsletter system, right, Corey?
It is like I do. I mean, you can really customize out. It does have a full feature of being able to input people's like contact info and then automate things into the future. So if I want this email to go out consistently month over month, and it just might be a template that you plug and play and tweak. It's a great tool. Costs maybe $10 a month or something like that. Great option to have.
And if you plan on doing this at a level like you want to have like a full-fledged investing business, then you may want to look at an actual CRM, right? That's got like maybe AI in the background, or it's got some sort of like it ties in with whatever you're doing for lead capture or something like that. The best systems actually have the ability to contact from within the system, right? So you've got a record not only of your notes, but you also have like, oh, here's the emails that are coming in and out, where I can see my text messages that syncs to my phone or something, right? That's going to be a great system.
Yeah, so I wanted to dive into, I guess, because the point is really just to stay top of mind at the end of the day, right? When people think of you or think of, say, real estate or think of a deal, you're the first person that comes to mind at the end of the day in their world. We can touch on a system of a very easy plug and play of how do I consistently just kind of follow up,
Yes.
right? We curated this, I mean, we really call it kind of the DTD2 or the database 2 system.
Yep.
In that, really what you're planning to do or you're looking to do is like go into your contacts, sort people by, you know, their last name, group them into groups of 2 by sort of that first letter of their last name. So example, like A and W, your B and E.
So the backstory on this is a 13-week program because there's 26 letters in the alphabet, right? Each of these groups has approximately, some of these last ones are kind of weak, like I and Z.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
approximately 10% of the alphabet in there, right? So A and W, that's why they're paired that way. It's been frequency sorted like by census data of like, if you sort by last name and you call all the A and W, you should on average be calling about 10% of your database every single month. So you, right, if you're calling, if I have 13 weeks, what's cool about that is there's 13 weeks in a quarter.
Yeah.
So naturally, I could talk to everyone 4 times a year if I did this. So we go back there, Corey. So I've got A and W. It's like, how do I tag them or sort
So
them?
yeah, you sort them or you tag them in your database or risk. I mean, I'm gonna email this out in our follow-up to this, so everybody at least have a copy of this template. The way it would start is like, say on here Monday the 2nd, I'm gonna go into my database and I'm gonna call everyone that their last name starts with A or W, right? And just being able to work through that list systematically, you're gonna hit them.
Does anybody not have a database? Everybody's got a database? Awesome, fantastic. Pull your phone out. Open up your contacts. That's your database. No, I'm not being smart, but like, it is just like, that's your database. So if I want to get started, I can just go call all the A's in my phone, right? And call all the W's in my phone. Like, you know, don't let perfection be like stop you from like reaching out to those people.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like consistently going through that, just having that discipline of like, all right, this week we're gonna call and talk to all these people in that group.
What this one does, which is cool, is some it's
calling and adding.
calling all my A and W's and I'm texting my N's. Right? It's another way to go through. I've got some different frequency there to add some stuff up. I've done this before too, where I run this multiple times, right? So week 1, I'm doing January, I'm doing A and W's. I'm gonna call, right? February, I'm going to maybe reach out to them on social media. March, I'm gonna maybe send a video or send a text or something, right?
Written note.
Yeah.
Big fan of it.
But it's just like a reminder system, and it's just as simple as like, for your social media, cool. Hey, I'm gonna go through my A and W's, and I'm just gonna go look at what they're doing on social. I'm gonna comment on something. It can be pretty natural. It's a way of like, how do you break out of the algorithm where I remember like, oh, man, I haven't talked to Kristen Fair. I totally forgot about it. It's not popping in my feed of like I got married or right. I'm just reaching out and engaging.
I've done this like when we talk like social media. This does work even on let's say like things like Facebook, because you can actually go and curate your friends lists into subgroups like that. And it has a feature where I could then go and say click that group, and then on my social media feed, it's only going to show me people that live in that group.
I didn't know that.
Because I'm sure like if you notice, like you go on Facebook and I see the same like 10 people like over and over. It's like always this. It's that algorithm saying like, hey, well, you've liked this person recently, so it's just going to show you like more of that. So as a way you can almost subvert that is by categorizing people this way. And the cool thing is that works like both ways. So now I'm systematically going through my database, say my A and W's on Facebook, and I'm hitting like, making some comments on their posts, things like that. I'm going to now show up on theirs. They're going to see, I'm going to be in there 10, 20 people that are just, I just constantly see Corey like all over this thing. Why? It's that goes both ways.
So does anybody enjoy social more when you see the milestones in your friend's life? So we're on there, right? Yeah. Like, oh wow, cool! That guy got a new job. Like I don't even talk to this guy from my high school, but like, fantastic! Yeah. Oh, your kids are graduating. Yeah.
Corey, how much time, honestly? Would you say this takes you for the amount that you seem to be doing?
Okay, so I guess if I segment that, like the Facebook piece, like took me a little bit of time, and I would say that probably 10, 15 minutes of like focused work, like per group,
You
right?
do
That's-
seem to do a good job on Facebook, but I'm old, so I only do
Sure.
Facebook. I don't, you know. You do a really good job on Facebook, and both of you do, because like you put stuff like that makes people respond, which I think is fun.
Mhm.
And I really love that you put stuff about your family,
Mhm.
because that, you know, you feel a connection. Or you feel old if you're me, but that's okay. But it's nice because you don't just talk about work, which I think is a very good job you two both do, just to give you a compliment. But back to, you can answer now. Maybe this is why I don't talk on the phone. For hours to get through a conversation, sorry.
I like talking to you on the phone, Aaron. I really like you, so I don't. The question piece though, so I will ask full questions, right? And
You
I
do,
still
it's great.
someplace else like, hey, what's your favorite 90s song, whatever that is. People love to participate. And if you can create a space on your page where people can participate and they're not fighting, unless it's over fun stuff like, you know, Bravato's overrated at first sound, that's fine, right? Like, that's a great, but your engagement goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go get like 186 posts, and then when I have someone post something business, well, Facebook says, what I have to say must be important, because look at all these people that want to participate and get involved.
But you might not know that, like, you put some stuff on there that I'm like, hey, this guy, you guys, you know, my family doesn't know. I'm like, hey, this guy put on this thing. And then you're talking about something.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, something that, so it's really cool.
Sure.
It's really cool you do.
Well, it's because we enjoy it. So, Corey, what's the basics, like, if I want to do this and just get started, not, just keep it simple, right? So we've got a tempo you can use to sort this so it doesn't feel overwhelming. What's the step one here in keeping in touch?
Step one, I would say, is actually just going into, is just starting with your calls. I mean, that's
Okay.
really, this is just a layer building like activities, right? So step one is certainly just making your calls, following up with texts and email, and you can actually stay pretty top of mind. And that's largely how I built my business. I'm sure a lot of people here are on a newsletter, on some kind of like email campaign from me, and you're gonna hear from me no less than 4 times a year.
Yeah, you won't leave me alone.
Right, exactly. They're gonna just reach out, just leave me a voicemail. And I would say even on those voicemails, so there's something I've noticed on that. Like, say if I'm making calls or you're making calls to somebody and you don't get them on the phone, leave a voicemail, and I would say like leave permission, like it's okay for that other person to not call you back. Right? I can leave a voicemail and say, hey, Justin, like, sorry I missed you. Hope all's well. No rush on giving me a shout back. I'm sure you're busy, a lot of things going on, whatever. I'll give you a shout back in a couple days, or shout when you get a chance. No rush. Hope you're doing well. Talk soon. Because I found what we do as humans is we might like miss a call, and maybe I didn't intend to miss it. I might have been busy, things got away from me, right? And then a day goes by and I didn't call Justin back. And like another day goes by and I still didn't call Justin back. And I lose my brain. But now I'm like anxious about it. I've created this thing in my head of like, I can't call him back now. Like, he's mad at me, or there's something that we just make things up in our heads, right? So by giving people permission, hey, it's okay, cool, not to call me back, it does relieve that tension a little bit, but you still are top of mind. You still heard my voice, you still saw that I called, it still has a similar trigger. We don't necessarily deepen the relationship further because we didn't have a conversation, but it is still a way to stay like top of mind. So just the
I wanna
preference of
test this.
introverts there.
You're amazing at
It's
this.
okay.
I feel like I just say it just because it proves your point is like, I think we used to talk regularly when we worked out together.
Yep.
And then I had a child and,
Yep.
and then I think maybe you contacted me maybe like 4 times a year, something, maybe even like 6. And there was a time where I needed you, right? I needed your opinion. You were my superstar, like you mentioned earlier. And that was recently, and it was no problem, right? Like it didn't feel like a burden for me to call you and be like, hey, I need your help, because you made it kind of clear through communication that you were there, and that and I'm busy, right? Like I haven't been able to like communicate well, but it doesn't matter because the way that you communicated makes me feel like it's okay that I've been bad at it, but I can still be like, hey, what's your schedule look like? Right. So it's really good.
Yeah, it's okay. For the introverts that are out there that don't necessarily like to make calls as one, right? That's a great tactic even to use. It's like, hey, if I didn't get somebody, just leave the voicemail. Make it okay for them to not call back, and you can schedule it, right? You go back in your calendar later that week, try to call somebody on a Wednesday night or a Thursday to try to reestablish and make that connection. But big thing there is just like leave the voicemail and like make it okay for them not to call you back right away. Because we all do it. We all make this shit up in our heads. If I don't get back to somebody after a day, like now I'm avoiding the confrontation a little bit more than really should make a call.
All I want to say, surely you two guys have been to this too. Most of this reluctance, et cetera, is created by ourselves in our own minds. Most of our cold feet are
Nobody else is thinking about us that much. Even right now, half of you are not looking at me or paying attention. You're thinking about what you're, yeah, I know this from experience. They're just not. I had a friend, he said, we were at like church, he turned another guy and he goes, have you seen Justin's videos? They're great. He's like, what are they about? He goes, I don't know, I don't watch them. And I was like, thank you, I'll take the compliment. You see me in a seat on the road state, but I was like, that's how low the bar is. You sound like I'm great. So this is important, right? Because I want to have a one-to-many. Like I want to have like, what's one thing I can do that I can reuse over and over and be intentional about, like, don't just get some shit email and forward it. Like take the time to be like, what's something you would actually read if someone sent it to you and be grateful to read it, right? Like it'll pay off of like, hey, just once a month, I'm gonna send something out. It could just be like, here's a great article. You know what I mean? I followed this guy on Bigger Pockets or whatever. I thought of this, add a note to it. You know what I mean? Hey, I picked up this one thing this week and I went to this cool restaurant. Doesn't really matter what it is. I just, what's something of value you can add in people's lives? Because that's a consistent touch where at least it'll stay top of mind. And ROI on your time, that'll be the biggest ROI on your time, right? You do that once, you send that thing out, it's gonna have a much lower open rate. But if you do that consistently, that'll probably yield the most.
Yeah.
Right?
It consistently like compounds. An actual, this one I put on there, this is just actually a screenshot that I had. This is from my my email like piece on there. So for the one the platform I use specifically on here, I can have a whole list of how many I sent. I can see my open rate on here, right? 54%, 49%, 49, pretty high when it comes to emails.
Those are crazy. Those are Corey King numbers.
No, email is pretty notoriously very like low open rate. So it is something that I'm proud of because I at least like I'm trying to put out good, consistent material that people like and are engaging with. This one is pretty interesting enough because like I can see them like who opens it, links, and there's actually a tool in there that if I'm putting out links to articles or things like that, I can see from a back end who clicked what article. So now I know like on our next conversation, hey, you were just looking at mortgage rates, you were checking out this article I saw. It creates another dialogue point, something we can connect on.
And we've got some training on that we can share from a guy who's the #1 luxury agent in New York City. Number one KW luxury agent in New York City that built a giant business by doing that.
Yeah.
By being super intentional about like, I'm gonna put an article in there and I'm gonna see who responds to that. And I'm gonna go deeper on these relationships. Like, right, it's a way of like mining information. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Corey. So
Which system was that?
constant
So that's
contact.
constant contact is what that one is. That's probably $10 a month or something along those lines to have.
Yep.
Not too bad.
So I'm gonna tag Jessica in here because Jessica has got some experience with affiliate marketing and affiliate relationships. What's an affiliate relationship in your words? How would you describe it? You can cheat and use them.
Yeah, well, basically you get paid to tell people about stuff that you like, people you trust, and whenever they make a purchase from them, then you get a look at that.
Yeah.
So that's the simple way.
Yeah, so how is that applicable for us, right? I can promote complimentary services,
Yeah.
you know, to what I'm doing on my site.
So for real estate, there's two main ones that I have affiliate relationships with. So like my mastermind with Ryan Atlanta and which is called Love Investor now, and then also my hard money lender, Dan with Longhorn. So like those are the two that I usually promote in my conversations with people. But it's like really natural because like I'm usually trying to help them with something. And it just happens to fit with them. I'm not like being like, hey,
Right.
you know, you should totally do this or something like that.
Yeah. So if you're looking to build, if you're playing this game at a high level, right? it's who's the nicest and who has the most friendships wins. That's it. That's Mike Zenicola came here to teach his negotiation class, and that was it, right? He's the nicest and most prepared agent wins. So how are we gonna monetize our network? We're really talking about doing it. And monetizing it in a way where it's just, how am I adding additional value, right? Not cynically, just if I think Brad is the greatest AC guy, hey Brad, does it cost you money? It's been used for years. Does it cost you money to acquire new clients?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta spend money to do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, if I could send you a client, would it make sense, like,
Yeah.
you know, the way you market anywhere else? Fantastic, cool, awesome. Hey, can I put you on my list of like recommended vendors?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It's nothing more complicated than that. It's just, but keep in mind, like, you will lose your way if you do it for money. See what's up, man. I said, you wanna send people that you would send regardless anyways. Through my experience there. And then Corey, how can you track that? Let's get deeper into like the actual nuts and bolts.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of some of those systems that we've kind of shown today, that you can actually see where people are clicking through and what they're going through, and a lot of those links that you're sharing. Sorry.
No, it's all,
Sorry.
no, cool.
It was, services Expo, link tracker. What have you used, or what have you managed some of your stuff through this?
So I have an RV site, so that's like my biggest affiliate stuff, so I have Walmart, Amazon. So like they all have their own huge tracking platforms. But with me, what I normally do is if I'm helping someone through the process, I don't assume anything. I follow up and I'm like, hey, how'd that go? Or are they doing you right? Like, hang on a second, let me get on them. Go, Dan, what's up, man? Are you moving? You sick? You got COVID? Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to help Lisa. Like, it's like, okay, Lisa, let me know. So like, I do a little bit extra. But yeah, it's just really following up and then, making people want to pay you. Like, I got a Christmas note from Dan, like, hey, thank you. I would love to pay you more this year. Like, so yeah, it's just like really simple.
Yeah, so you can build that, I mean, and this is a way you can start with the end in mind. You can build this out into your email newsletter, right? So we have an email newsletter with some recommended links, and you can use third-party services to track those links. So maybe you're working with someone that doesn't have like an affiliate program, because it's like Average Air, or it's like the Screen Company or whatever, right? I can use something that's gonna act as a go-between. So when they click on that link, it's gonna track it and it's gonna pass on. So that way I've got internal tracking of like, hey, who's clicking on this link and going to you? And we can reconcile as a way for them to tag where it's coming from, right? More information on that, we can talk about it offline here. So Corey, what are some other ways, we jump to this next one, the white one.
Yeah.
What are some other ways we can generate more value out of our network for everyone involved? How can I be that instigator of value? How can I be the one who's,
I would say just asking the questions, just asking people, right? Just that basic thing of like, how can I help you? Going to events, sending people here to these groups.
I got another question for you. What's the best referral for you? That's another great question. If you ask that from everyone in your network, you'll get some cool answers, right? Yeah. How can they support you? Can they link back? Can they promote you, right? Can your suppliers do these things? Can they put you out there? And I think our favorite, Corey, number 3.
Just bring them in here.
Yeah.
Invite them to group, right? Go to events, social media, podcasts, just kind of spreading the word, and then just inviting people out, right? Inviting people you know or think would find of value in things like this, inviting them into these spaces. That's the biggest thing you can do.
But I love collaboration, working together, doing social media together. If you got Zoom or you got Google Meets, you can do a podcast. You should jump on there and talk to each other. I did one on Instagram Live with somebody, and we did a promotion for an event we had coming up. That's a really simple way to do it. Who's got questions?
You recommended a book, The Go Giver,
Go Giver.
Go Giver.
Yeah.
Who's it by?
I can tell you in 30 seconds. I have it on Audible, or listen to it on Audible. Bob Berg, David Mann. Yep.
By the way, Scribe is another really good audio book. You can read stuff and you can read stuff just on Scribe, and it's like
it's not like Audible where you own the book, but you kind of get to rent the book indefinitely, it's like $10 a month.
It's like
That's
10
great.
bucks.
Yeah,
You
that
get
is
like-
really
you get like
cool.
7 titles a month. They have audiobooks.
I
And
thought it was unlimited.
now I think you get like 7 titles per month, but it's still like just $10.
That's still.
You listen to 7 books a month.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing pretty good.
What's that called? Scribe.
Scribe.
SCRIBD.
Yeah.
Got it. No vowels during 2022. Who's got any other questions?
Yeah.
Kind of going back to like the building of the dream team. So one of the things that's really hard for me in real estate is like it's not my area of expertise. Like I don't really know the right questions to ask. This is how we got ourselves in trouble with contractors. Like what's a good way to learn like how to vet people and how to kind of find out the quality? Because one of the problems like asking for referrals and stuff is like that comes from people that they know. So I really struggle with like trying to determine who's good versus who's really good at marketing and all the stuff you talk about today.
So your question, just to clarify, is how do I vet people for like the referrals that I'm getting
That's
into?
correct, yeah.
I've got some ideas.
Especially like online referrals from these Facebook pages, you get a lot, but it's hard to know what quality they are.
I think so. It's leaning on other people, right? So if I'm really going to vet this, I have to have enough education. So I'll give you an example of why, because I'm staring at Brad like as I'm talking to you, right? So what Brad will do for me is he'll come out there and pressurize an AC system. Why is that really valuable? If I'm doing a deal in the middle of winter, right? I don't know if the AC system works. You're going to tell me it's functional, looks okay, but I can't actually tell what's going on there. So I've got someone that'll go above and beyond, but I wouldn't even know to ask for that, right? You would never know. You could buy a house and get your AC inspected and never, that wouldn't be on the menu.
Yeah.
So I've got to go talk to someone else. That's it. It's like, who do I have? That's an information expert. So like who in this room, that you think I should never meet other investors? Hey, Jeremiah, I'm curious about this. I don't know anything about that. Like what questions should I be asking? Hey, Justin, what questions should I be asking? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, basically it's coming like networking, and you find people who've already done deals, because if they've already used somebody, to do something, if you find people that other people have used and they did a good job, people that you feel like you can trust, right? I mean, obviously, sometimes you're gonna, find a bad egg, but when you come to things like this and you find somebody, they're like, oh, we flipped 10 properties. They're like, we use this guy on every single one of those, and he did a great job on all of them. That's probably a safe bet, So really networking is best,
The other thing is you've got YouTube Academy, right? So whatever you're looking to do, you can invest the time. I mean, speed watch a video on how to do this thing you're looking to do, and then you'll have a little better idea of what you're asking for. Because the real challenge is like, how do I vet people for things I don't have any frame of reference for? And then I feel like I could be into it all the time because I don't know anything. This is everyone that buys houses, by the way. So I got to trust this guy that I met at an open house, and I don't know if it's something the right thing or not. And I just, right? I think that's another way, is just getting some independent evaluation.
I think you seem like a really nice person, and I bet you know the right things to ask. But you're probably like me, and like, I just was one of those people that you're like, it seems like, okay, they seem nice, and I bet you had the same thing. After a while, you just get over it, and I bet you will. And I mean, I'm from the Midwest, and we were just not people who were taught to, be like that. So you just after a couple times, but not going well, you're gonna get there. And I think that's probably the one thing is you just, first of all, I used to just say, well, my dad said I had to ask these questions or, something, but I bet you will. And I bet you really know what to ask. And you just need that, you need to just, but it's intimidating, I think. And I think that's part of it, but you seem like a really smart person. So you probably know, and just have to get out there and just say, my sense is you probably aren't really the person I should be. So I'm just gonna move you along. But it's really hard. I've flipped a few houses, and without that knowledge base of your own, it's, until you get there, it's intimidating, but
Who's willing to answer questions or come look at a project or give someone else advice in this room? Yeah, that's my experience, right? Is people that are serious about this game do it because they just are nuts about the game. They love it. I'll come look at your disaster of a house. Yeah, let's go. Right? I figure it's really exciting when it's not my problem. Like, let's go figure this out. I get some advice like this going on. Right? And
This is
walk.
true. Every time I call, they come.
This is a scene is a wholesaler. There's a number of things. We looked at some deals together. So I think keep that in mind. That's the advice I give to anybody. I'm just a big believer in partnership and mentorship. Like whether you're paying someone, you're asking someone, you're just doing this reciprocally, you know, you're a nice person, take them out to lunch. Like most people here will help you. And that's my advice. Just ask for more help than you think you need. Ask for an incredible amount of help. Like an absurd amount of help, and I get an absurd amount of help.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's just referring to a contractor on the rental loan. Yeah, we handled that pretty well.
Was he a fast talker?
Oh, no, he had these family, no,
He has a lot of recommendations.
he's probably a really great contractor, but he's a small timer that probably just works on one at a time, or maybe two, and he stretched himself a little too thin. And we kind of knew that, and then like when we saw his work, you know, he threw us his price tag. Oh, you know, I helped her. Told her to get the fuck out of my house. I'm in Kentucky. I'll be coming there soon. That's pretty much how we handle it.
There you go.
I think that's, yeah, to your point, that is. I love it. Anybody got any other? Yes.
How solid are appraisals? Like, should you be getting like 2 or 3, or should you just go with like 1? I mean, are they like all the same?
So walk me through the context of what you're getting in an appraisal.
Okay, so I just bought a home
Yep.
like a month ago. And I bought it to sell it. Okay, it's a new construction, but I only had to put down like 2,000. And it was a deal that was like at the table and someone had to come in and, I mean, it like.
Yeah,
bad and I-
they
I
walked
came
away
in.
and you're gonna come in and
Yeah.
buy it, sure.
So they sold it for 170
Mhm.
and it appraised for 202, but like, should I take, I mean, is that just?
You
It is new
should,
construction,
you should have somebody look at it. We'll look at it.
okay,
And I can tell you, I mean, so basically they've got appraisers follow the US standards. I mean, these, you just look at the comps and we can figure out if the appraisal is good or not. If it's new construction, there's a good chance it's a very solid appraisal because they're just selling boxes and then comparing it hopefully to box A. And it's the same floor plan and that's a pretty good, it's about as good appraisal you can get. Probably just have somebody look at it. Yeah, I mean, just that's my advice, because it could be a terrible appraisal.
what am I trying to get for it? I mean, what the appraisal says.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
were you expecting more?
I was expecting a little more, but if I can get if I can just if I can get the 20 out of it, I mean, I'm only just gonna buy something else.
But appraised value might not be what you get on the market. You can sometimes get more than the appraised value.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know, in this market, maybe not, but
It's just gonna be,
not a lot of houses out there for 200K.
no, not right now, especially like it's brand new.
Yeah, it's done,
That's crazy.
yeah, I know, and it.
He's like,
What? No, the thing was, it was an old appraisal on the house and they couldn't, because it was so close, I mean, at the end of it, they couldn't do like a new one. So when they sold it to me, they had to go off the appraisal that was with the.
Interesting. Let's talk about that one afterwards, but yeah, the honest answer though is like getting appraisal, there's differences in values of good appraisals and bad appraisals, but a good agent should be able to like, you can look at the comps and kind of figure out what's going on and compare it.
It's more based on the market than necessarily, like it's the appraisal too, but the market is what dictates the appraisal. in a way, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Appraisal is just a snapshot of time
Yep.
at that moment.
Yep.
You know, 6 months from now, that house will be appraised different.
An appraisal should be a good indicator of like what value is. It's not always an indicator of what we want to pay.
Right.
Like people were paying above appraised value because they're coming to California, there's no damn houses. So to them, it was worth it but like it didn't track with like, there wasn't values to support that where a lender could support it, but the market, we had that for a while, it was this weird thing where it's like, here's where appraised value is, and it makes sense, but when people consistently keep going, I don't care, and paying above it, like market price and appraisal value are the same. Or vice versa, like you can have appraised value here and like, we don't care, the news is crazy, nuclear war in Ukraine, like I'm not giving you, like I'm not buying unless it's a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So are you saying I may have to wait around for it to become a new deal, like for it to be good again?
No, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of based, it's what somebody's willing to pay. I mean, the house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. So you just kind of look at what the other properties in the area have sold for, like they were saying, do comps and figure out what other properties have sold for. But it's really just based on what somebody's willing to pay. Appraisal is just, like you said, a snapshot of what.
They are in the tube though, the other.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no telling what it would actually sell for. You just-
And my advice when it comes to stuff like that is like, when you think about the amount of money involved, like it's worth anybody giving you an answer like that, like, no, go, there's $100,000 involved. Let's go spend some hours looking at this and coming to a price that makes sense. It's worthwhile when it comes to, you know,
Cause
figuring
I
out.
got an appraisal done on my property, right? It's 2,600
Questions?
square foot, that didn't count the basement. And our appraisal came back at 320,000 when it had
Jay
a
Springer?
finished basement, which we're doing.